Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us early this morning for our next installment in our ongoing series of Morning Blend, which I know you all know is an ongoing quarterly event that we hold through the foundation so that our donors, our friends, have an opportunity to connect with library and foundation leadership and really understand firsthand what the planning is for the library and the foundation, what's most important to Kelly and to our new executive director, who you're going to meet this morning, and gives you an opportunity to ask the questions and find out the things that are most important to you. So I appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully everyone's got a nice hot cup of coffee, and we'll get started. I want to remind everyone that we do record this event so that we can share it with donors who are not able to join us for the particular time period that we're talking this morning. And I also want to thank those of you who took the time to submit questions in advance. I have them ready to ask. But if you think of something that you didn't think of before this morning that you do want to ask, put it in the chat and I'll get to as many of the questions that we have received as I can in the time that we have today. So my name is Shara Polly. I'm the Senior Vice President of the Free Library of Philadelphia Foundation. And I'm joined this morning by Kelly Richards, President and Director of the Free Library and the Foundation. Kelly has been leading the organization since January of 2022, and he has many accomplishments to share with you this morning. They are remarkable, especially given the relatively short period of time that he's been in the role. And Kelly and I are thrilled to introduce you this morning to Monique Pryor, who is the new executive director of the foundation. Monique joined us on August 21st, so she's literally, I think is it week maybe 4 or 5, Monique. As the foundation's first executive director, Monique has joined us after serving for 5 years as the Chief Engagement and External Affairs Officer at St. Francis College in Brooklyn. And in her role here, she will lead the foundation through a multi-year strategic planning process, also working with Kelly and the boards of the foundation and the library to define the roles for each of our organizations as we continue to respond to the changing needs of our city post-COVID now and into the future. Kelly and Monique, maybe turn on your cameras and join me. And before we begin the conversation, I just gave our friends just kind of a, top line background on both of you, but maybe you might want to add to what I said and just talk a little bit about yourselves and just what you've been up to in recent weeks. And Monique, maybe we'll start with you since you're the star today.
I don't know about star, but thank you, Shara, for that introduction. And thank you to everyone who has joined us today. So just a little bit about me. As Shara said, I started on August 21st. I hit the ground running. The most exciting part about beginning my tenure at the foundation is that I'm coming back home to Philadelphia, my hometown. I was raised in Philadelphia by 2 public school teachers in the Philadelphia School District. They met at Cheney University in college, my parents. And after high school, I went off to college and just visited for the last several years. I won't say decades because then I'll tell you my age, but several years. So I've been in northern New Jersey, raising my family close to New York City. And this position at the library came at a very wonderful time, and I was excited about it. As a journalism major, I consider myself I have a passion for storytelling, and I've always enjoyed reading. And the library for me growing up was a safe haven. My parents were divorced at a young age for me, and my mom worked, as you know, and she actually had to take on second and third jobs because our school teachers are paid low still. And the library was where I was told to go after school until my mother was able to come pick me up. And so the fact that one, people tell us all our lives that we become our parents, and two, um, to be in a place where I can impact education, or that my career has pivoted in that way. I'm a lawyer by trade, practiced over 20 years. So the fact that I'm in the education space like my parents, and to be supporting the library, which played such a pivotal role in my upbringing, and to be back home rediscovering my hometown with new and old friends is quite a joy for me and my husband.
Right. Thank you so much, Monique. Kelly, what have you been up to?
Well, it's been quite a bit going on. Well, first, I want to say good morning to you all, and I appreciate you being here this morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and give you an update of what's going on here at the library. Well, one of the most exciting things that has taken place is Monique is here. That's very much appreciated by the library staff, my team, and myself, um, with the great task that we have to lead one of the nation's largest libraries, and run a very efficient foundation. We need the support on hand in order to take the organization forward. Now, the city has invested significantly into the library. Our budget has increased. Our basic budget, operating budget, has increased over $30 million a year. That's just part of our budget now, which will help us get to our 5-day. We were closing about 25 branches a day. This has been going on for about a generation. People have just adjusted to it. And it's something you really can't plan for, because it had been almost like a lottery. It just depended on who was available to work and who couldn't work. There was no branches in any community that any community would have wanted to close, or that we would have really even wanted to close over the years. They were so necessary. They're so necessary and needed in each one of our communities. So that wasn't never an option. And I think it was tried once and it didn't work out well, because people love their libraries, which is good for all of us here in this meeting today. But we managed to work with the mayor and the council. They love their libraries, to get our budget increase, and we greatly appreciate it. Now, the difficult task has been, in those months since we got it to increase, is to build up the capacity to utilize those resources, and to bring on the people that are needed in order to open up our branches 5-day stable. And what I mean by 5-day stable, that's basically 8 hours a day for 5 days. And then that is to lead us to 8-day stable, which is the Saturday. But we can't open Saturday because we don't have enough staff. And if we open Saturday, we'll be doing the same thing Saturday that we're doing Monday through Friday, closing. So we don't want to open Saturday to just let people down for another day. So as we build up the staff, hire them, train them, and get them ready to open up on every day, 8 days, stably, then we will reach that capacity of that 5-day stable that where we receive those funds to do. There's been a lot of people who've been wanting us to open Saturdays, but we will be closing just about every other day if we open Saturdays, because we need the staff and we need them trained. Now, all of that's good news, because in order to reach our capacity, or to get that stable service, we need to have about 1,100 staff. And when I started, we had 600, about 650. And that's how down we were with staff. It was just totally impossible to make that happen. And now we're getting closer to 900. And we believe by the end of this year, we will be at 6 days stable. We've got some branches that are ready to go 6-day now. We're just not prepared to do that. We want to make this happen in phases, and right now is not the time to do that. We've got to have guards in our buildings because of the issues that we're confronted in a large major city like this. We need to have them in there to keep our staff and patrons safe, and to keep an eye on the environments and the location. So that's what's been going on. We've been building our team. When I came on board, the whole administrative team was gone. So I had to build that up. Took 8 months to hire somebody just to come in to support me in this massive effort from upper management. We had mid-level managers who we are now training to step in in those situations when we don't have the upper level management. That was not the case, and we're doing that now. So it's a lot of optimism. We're excited about what's going on, and we're moving the organization forward. So there will be more updates to come in the next weeks. We just put out our notice to our unions of our schedule change of starting our hours changing to have 2 nights, Monday, Tuesdays, and our Saturday service. We have to give them 30 days notice when we change all of that. And that went out maybe 2 weeks ago. So that all starts on the 16th. So phasing in Saturdays, our evening hours, Monday, Tuesday, which we're trying to create muscle memory throughout the city. So no matter where you go, you know that the library is open on those nights. Our headquarters location hours are totally different. That always is. We're open more nights here than we will be anywhere else. But we're trying to create that muscle memory throughout the city because we've lost that. People don't come, and I hear it all the time, because we have not been open on a regular basis, and they catch SEPTA, the bus, trolleys to get to the branches, and they're closed, and they should be open. And our goal is to change that and build back credibility for our open hours. But it's going to take some time because this has been going on for years, and this predates COVID. So anyway, we're optimistic, and we're excited, and we have the support of the administration to move forward to do that. So I got a lot more that I could say, but you got questions, so let's move forward.
So I'm just kind of watching the chat, Kelly, and we can't get to some of these questions until I give the people who submitted questions first the courtesy of their questions. But I'm seeing a lot of positive response to what you're saying. And I know as a staff person, it's just delightful to see all the new faces, and everyone is so excited about the work that they're doing and so excited about Kelly's leadership. So definitely such an honor to be a part of this movement forward on behalf of the organization. So anyway, okay, we'll get to your questions, and then I'll come back to the chat again if I have time. So the first question is actually from Monique, which the question is, please tell us about your professional experiences and what led you to choose the Free Library of Philadelphia Foundation at this stage in your career. And you did kind of talk about that already in your intro. So anything you want to add with that question being posed to you specifically now?
What will I add? Going to law school as a journalism major, I didn't intend to fall in love with the law. It's like learning a new language, as you can imagine, as you know, Shara, being an attorney yourself. And so to understand the law and enjoy becoming a persuasive writer, that's what you learn in law school. It has boded well for my career in and out of the law, and in this job in particular. So I'm just excited to be able to use my legal skills in at heading up the foundation, whether it's just my analytical skills, being insightful, collaborative, understanding, bringing, one of my strengths is collaboration and connecting people together. I look forward to doing that in my role. It's been a joy to work with Kelly. one of my goals, I know that's one of the questions, right? I'm getting ahead of myself, but I know one of the questions is, what are my short-term goals? And so to be in lockstep with the leadership at the library, and Kelly, we meet very often, 3, 4 times a week. And as you can see, we're already achieving that goal by dressing in the same color today. That was by accident, but it's just a joke in the sense that we're singing from the same song sheet and bringing each other to where we are, understanding what the library needs and how the foundation can support the library in their efforts. But it's just great being here, more in being more specific, re-engaging with my community. I go through the city of Philadelphia, and I'm just always reminded of my childhood. I grew up in Powelton Village, which is down the street from University of Penn. I went to 16th Street Walnut Center Elementary School. I was in Mount Airy the other day, and just Kelly Drive, all those places. It's just great to be home and be near my siblings and my nieces and nephews and my parents.
Thank you, Monique. We are certainly very happy that you came home. The next question, actually, I'm going to skip the question about goals because you've so eloquently already addressed that. One of the donors asked, coming in, what do you think about as the foundation's strengths, and what was explained to you as the immediate challenges for the foundation that needed to be addressed?
Yeah, so I know I see with my own eyes and feels. I've taken the first 30 days to meet with internal stakeholders, and that's the staff and the board. And the staff, the strength of the foundation is the passion that they have and the board has for the library. That is our strength, and our donors and patrons. I see that many of us, including myself, have stories to tell about the library and how it's just the catalyst of creating community. And, it's the tentacles of what the city has to offer. We are the largest agency in the communities that providing service to those most in need. And it's not just about literacy, which is of the highest importance, but we're providing some basic needs for communities to thrive and survive. I see one of the challenges is that understanding that change is constant, right? That as Kelly said, how libraries are operating today and how foundations are operating today, the Free Library of Philadelphia continues to grow in that direction and be on par with other foundations and libraries throughout the country. Libraries being a main source of support and championing what the library sees as their vision to do. And that's our main role. And conveying that change is constant to our diehard supporters, and making sure we're all coming up to speed. I see as one of the challenges, because change is constant, but it can be hard. I'm speaking for myself, who within 30 days, I moved my youngest daughter into college. I moved to Philadelphia and started a new job, right? But change, but here we are, right? I'm with you guys this morning, and it's just been a joy meeting people throughout the city. So change is constant, hard, but we'll get through it, and it will benefit us all in the long run.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Monique. And I think, as you talk about the challenges, the next question, which actually came in from a totally different person, was what can donors do to help you be and help the foundation be more successful? As you think about, what's ahead of you and what your goals are, how can we involve folks in the work and really give them the tools, empower them to be a part of the challenge and the success that we expect to realize.
Yes, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. In addition to, or besides, what donors can do, besides introducing the foundation and the library to more supporters and more donors, which is what we need. We're in the business of friend raising and fundraising. We need our donors to continue to share their lovely experiences and being part of supporting the mission of the library. So that is paramount. Donors out there, Sharon, I would love for you to engage us in your community with your friends and colleagues to share the wonderful things that we're doing here at the library. So our our phone is open and ready to receive you, right, Sharon?
That's right.
But secondly, I would say we ask for your patience, right, as we're going through some growing pains and expanding our ideas and come to us with new ideas. If you see things that are successful at other libraries and foundation, bring those ideas to us and help us bring them to fruition. That could really help us. But I think one of the main thing I would ask of our donors is help us continue to friend raise, and we can do the rest, right, Shara? And also be patient and come to us with ideas and solutions would be helpful. When we have challenges, think with us, right? Help us solve the problem together, because we can only be successful with our donors and our main benefactors as well as the community support.
That is so well said, Monique. And the only thing I would add to that is we sometimes get our best information from those of you who are out in the community and hearing from your friends and your neighbors what needs to happen, you know, on behalf of the communities that you live in and how we can be a part of those solutions. So I think, you know, agreeing with Monique, communication is at the root of every success we can hope to achieve. And we depend on all of you for that feedback and that information. So this question actually, both Kelly, I'm going to bring you back into the conversation now with Monique. And the question is specific to the new position of executive director. The donor notes the fact that this is an inaugural position, a position that hasn't existed in the past. And then the question becomes, so how does this change how the foundation functions and its relationship with the library? And then what led to the decision to create this position? And again, will it change the relationship? And Kelly, maybe we can start with you since you were kind of in on the ground floor with this. And then Monique, anything you might have to add to your understanding of how this came to be?
Yeah, it's probably better if I start off on this. I sort of came into this as the door was open.
Yes.
There had been some research prior to me coming on board on what it would look like for the Library Foundation to have its own leadership for operational purposes and for strategic planning and forward thinking, because of the large breadth of this job of running an institution like the library and then running the foundation. It's been like this for a very long time, more than all of our lifetimes, that this has been this way. But the scope of what libraries do and what foundations do, library foundations do, has grown significantly over the years. And to have someone with I guess I would say, laser focus on that specific aspect of how our symbiotic relationship works is important. And coming into this role as a new library director here in Philadelphia, from my experience working with library foundations, that's how they always have been, where there was we're an oddity across the country in regards to how we are structured as far as the governance and leadership. And there's a reason for that. Some smart minds got together on the foundation board and said, we need to start thinking about, being a little bit more laser focused and not have one person have this huge role. So coming on board, it took me some time in order to adjust to the and to look strategically into both of the organizations. But once I did that, it became apparent that it was necessary because of the scope of the job to have someone focus on donor relations and the strategic planning, moving the foundation forward and the library forward. That will work symbiotically and work close together on providing great library service to the people of Philadelphia. And I'm 100% on board for that. So, as we all put our heads together and made this process work, it took a lot. And I could go through the details of how it went, but that'll be the whole meeting. And there are more questions here that need to be answered. But the whole goal was to make both sides of the organization stronger, to move forward. And we're getting ready to go through a strategic planning process. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that later. We will, both sides of the foundation and the library will develop its strategic goals and plans moving forward. And with someone on both sides focused on those things and sort of leading that charge going forward, it's only going to help make the whole institution stronger, because we know what synergy brings. It makes us all stronger than what we could be even individually. So Monique is here, and she'll tell you some of the things she's been doing in that respect, where now that's separated and she's handling a lot of that. So Monique, go ahead, take it away.
So what's exciting is, yes, that I'm here to really be an added support for Kelly in his role in leading the library. He has a big job on his plate, and so do I, but managing a staff of 900 and over 50 libraries is an endeavor in and of itself. And his focus, as he shared since he started, was to make sure the libraries, the safe havens, are open 5 days a week to support our community. And my leadership at the foundation was paramount. This inaugural position, not only is it in lockstep with the model throughout the country for other major libraries, but it's, as he said, also necessary so I can focus on our efforts in supporting the mission of the library. One thing that we are able to do here at the foundation, now that I'm here, is to concentrate more specifically on our staff and their efforts into fundraising, and supporting the programs that help the library. The communications team at the foundation has, that office has transitioned over to the library. It was that work was being done at the foundation for several years. The foundation communications team was doing the communication for the library and the foundation, but rightly so, that office is now being staffed at the library, and Trenton has come on board and just done an amazing job there. Also at the library, at the foundation, our author series continues to grow. That takes place at the Central Library, but it's an opportunity for the community to come see some amazing authors, but it's also a place where the foundation staff gets to interact with potential and current supporters of the library, enabling us to put all of our efforts there. That is really supporting the library's missions and what they have to roll out. I've been spending a lot of my time in the community, attending events that Kelly really had to split his time in doing before I got here. So now that I'm here, letting people know that the foundation is existing and thriving, creating exposure for the foundation and the library, letting current partners and future partners know that I'm here and that I'm a vehicle to continue the efforts in supporting the library. And so Kelly can really concentrate on bringing those services back to our constituents in our community. And so, as you can see or hear, my voice is a little hoarse because, right, I spend a lot of my time, yeah, my days are long. I go to events in the evening that's really allowing me to meet so many people in the not-for-profit and corporate sectors, to engage them. And I'm driving my assistant crazy in terms of the number of meetings I have to understand Philadelphians and what they hope to see from the foundation and our efforts in supporting the library, and what they've seen in the past and how we can together create a future going forward. So that doesn't mean Kelly is, I'll hear from Kelly on a Saturday and he's at the library, right, doing work. So I'm not certain how he must clone himself, but I'm glad to be here to be a supportive right hand for him. That's how I consider myself.
Let me add to that. There's one part of this question I don't think we really answered well. And it's that, I mean, we answered it, but I want to add a little bit more to that. And that was, how will the foundation function in relationship with the library? It will just be stronger. There are things that I can't do in my role as a library director. And in my role as the president of the foundation, I can do. But ethically, from the paperwork I've signed with the city, I can't do it regardless of with that role. So I'm sort of divided and what I can and cannot do. And sometimes I'm walking on an edge. And now we don't have to worry about that edge anymore. And what do I mean by that? One of the most important things that the foundation can do is advocacy. You can advocate. See, I can advocate by going out and giving the facts and just say, here's the facts, and you have the information to make a decision. You can go out and say, this is what you need to do. You got to do this. This is why it needs to be done, and it should be done, and the library needs this. And this is outside of the dollars that you give that are so needed for programming efforts and for capital efforts. This advocacy with our state, local, and federal leadership is significant. And then the advocacy that your dollars go toward getting firms that allow us, the foundation and staff, gives us strategy and the brain power to go out and advocate for more dollars from the state, because the state budget for libraries increased because of advocacy efforts from Carnegie Library and the Free Library of Philadelphia, and how we came together with our advocacy efforts that came from support of your dollars. And to have somebody like Monique to be able to stand up with the governor and the first deputies of our senators and the senators themselves to advocate for more resources for the free library is significant. And that also goes right to our city council and to our mayor to be able to say, this, you have to do this. And these are the reasons why you have to give these resources to the library. And it's significant. So now we've got someone on a regular basis who can do this. And I don't have to worry about an ethical issue because of the nature of my job. So advocacy, strategic planning, dealing with the issues that we're confronted with across the state and nation, with books being banned and legislation being proposed. Now we can have an advocate can go in and address those issues. I sit there and I can talk, give the rationale, but you can have someone go up there and actually say, no, this cannot be done. So it's important to have that role, because with me as a city employee, I can't do some of that.
Thank you, Kelly. That's a really, really important distinction. And I think for many of our guests this morning, maybe the first time they're hearing that. So thank you for explaining that. You know, we have a number of questions about open hours and how does staffing impact open hours. And I'm cheating and kind of looking at the chat and other questions about when will Parkway Central be open on the weekends. It brings people into the city and it's a wonderful resource for everyone.
Sure, I can
And
address all
Kelly,
that real quick if you want me to.
go, because
Okay.
you already have said, and I don't want to
Okay, you're
keep,
good. Okay.
but no, I think there is more, which is why I'm
Okay.
raising it again. Let's just, give people like the lay of the land
Right.
as perfect. Thank you.
Here, I'll address it real quick.
Yep.
The library has not been open sufficiently for a generation. Okay, it has not been. We have been one of the, actually, we have been the poorest large library system in the country. All right, and we have not been able to provide the level of services that we want. I think I saw a question about why we're not open Sundays. We're not open Sundays because we don't have enough people. We don't have enough bodies, or we haven't had enough bodies to open up our buildings. We had a massive group of people leave the system, one through COVID. We weren't able to replace all those positions because we didn't have the resources or money. Those positions were just left there on the books with no resources toward those positions. So we couldn't do that the way that you were probably used to our headquarters location being open on Sundays. And we just couldn't do it. And here's something that most of you probably aren't aware of. Sunday is overtime. You don't have to work it. And if we make you work it, that doesn't usually go over well. They work, but it's not a happy day for everybody. So Sunday's an overtime day. So it's difficult to require that. But a lot of people do want to work on overtime. Saturday is a regular work day. We're in a very strong, environment where the union is looking out for their employees. So once we get our branches to Saturdays, all day on Saturdays, once we move 5-day stable, get that straight. And again, let me explain to you where we are. We were closing 25. Now we're averaging about a branch, 1.7 branches closed a day, when it was 25 or more closed a day, which is significant. That goes into our 5-day stable. We're going to move into our 5-day stable, which is where we're working now. Then we're going to go into our 6-day stable, which is our Saturdays. We're hiring people as we speak. Maybe we were given resources to hire 345 people. We're somewhere in the high 200s right now. And we believe, again, we'll be able to reach that mark by January. So we'll be opening up our Saturdays in phases. And here's the thing. Once you reach Saturdays, Sunday is easy because that means you have enough people who are willing to work Sundays. Sundays will be much easier. But I really want to emphasize this. We haven't been open in about 20 years on a regular basis in all of our locations. This will be something new that especially on Saturdays in our neighborhood libraries. We're doing that on Saturdays in our neighborhood libraries. It hasn't happened before in our neighborhood. I'm not saying some neighborhood libraries, all of our neighborhood libraries. That hasn't happened before in people's lifetimes. So this is going to be something significant that we're going to be doing here at the Free Library. But again, for major metropolitan libraries across the country, that's just normal service. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you so much, Kelly. That does help. Kelly, I'm going to turn to kind of a related, because everything's related to when the libraries are open, but a subject that I know is very near and dear to your heart, which is children and how they use the libraries,
Yes.
right? And so one of our donors asks, what are your plans for attracting children, elementary age especially, to libraries and to reading?
All right. That's my focus. That's my life bread. That's what keeps me coming to work every day. With all of the things that I deal with, I sit here, no matter what crisis I'm going through, I think about the children and the library services that we can provide them to provide purpose and curiosity in their lives. So that's what keeps me coming every day. And you all wonder, how can I do it? That's it, the children. So the most important thing is for the library to be open in a safe space. So my main focus is getting open 5 and 6 days. That's the main focus. We have done something that the library has not done, but this happens in libraries across the country. It's a normal service. It's to provide programming services and dollars for staff to do unique, engaging programmatic efforts throughout our branches, and the city has given us resources to do that. Now, let me tell you something. The foundation has been supporting that effort for a very long time. So now what we can do is utilize those dollars to find, you know, you never truly get all of what you need from the municipality. It never happens. It's just not enough dollars. You got roads, you got police, you got fire, you got all of these things that the mayor and our council have to focus on in order to keep the city running. So libraries never really get everything that they really truly need in order to move forward. That's why it's so important for you to be here today, and for you and for your love of the library and giving of your resources in order to help and add more value to what the city can ever do, because we just can't do it. We need you. We need your love for your library, how you grew up there and how the library benefited you, and you want to give back in order to help these youth in the communities. So we were able to get some funding from the city so that staff can do more in the libraries, and to provide these sort of engaging efforts that focus on literacy, that you know, focuses on curiosity. These resources has given us the ability to partner with other museums and other civic organizations where we can come together and provide more services to our youth, which bring them into the library. And again, we bring them in because we're open. That's the most important thing. We're open now, so we're able to do these programmatic efforts in our branches. And you're saying, well, what are those efforts? Oh my God, we got 54 locations with staff in there that are so creative, and they come up with so many things. I've got lists of all of the things, and I don't have time to go through them all, but they're so creative in coming up with a variety of different efforts of providing programs for young people to bring them in the library. You know, some of the key things we do, you know, Read Baby Read, and, you know, we've got the Read by 4 program. But I've got 54 new locations and new librarians starting who have their own ideas that are specific to neighborhoods and specific to the needs of kids and youth in their communities that they're bringing in. And we allow them, and we're allowing them now to release that creativity, and they can do so. You know why? Because there's more people in the building, and they're not stretched trying to run multiple departments and trying to do multiple things. Now we have enough staff in the building so that they can provide the service that is necessary, and they're not stretched all over the place. So I know I said a whole lot, and I hope you got it, but it all goes back to having the resources, having the staff, and allowing them to utilize their creativity now because they can, because they are able to, because there are more staff in there to help our patrons. So hopefully that's helpful. And if you got any questions on that, sorry, I know I don't want to take all the time. I want Monique to do all the talking now.
So Kelly, thank you. And I just would say to everyone who's listening and all the donors who listen to this at another time, we try to communicate about some of the ways that the libraries serve children through foundation newsletters and other outreach tools that we have. But if you have specific questions or want more information about children's programming in the neighborhood libraries, please do let us know. We're very happy to provide whatever information would be helpful to you. And just piggybacking on what Kelly just said about more new librarians with new ideas, new creative input around how they can serve the communities that they're in, the foundation's ability to provide those librarians with, you know, a little bit of a bank account so that when they want to be immediately responsive to a need that arises, they have the resources to be able to do the programming that they know will serve that need. We all play a role in helping them to be able to do that. So again, more information from us. We're happy to provide that. Just let me know or Monique know. And do know that everything that you do is helping the librarians to be able to do exactly what Kelly is explaining, that they're ready to do and very eager to be able to do on behalf of the communities that they serve.
Shara, you want me to
Yeah.
talk about at some point our new department, communications and civic engagement, where I can talk about some of our adult programming? I don't have to do it now, but I just want to talk about that a little bit before we go, because that'll let everybody know what's going on with culinary literacy, our adult education, our business and entrepreneur services, and our workplace services. So I got a lot to talk about, but I know I don't have
All right. So I'm going to make a deal with you. Since you brought it up, I'm going to give you the mic back again.
Oh, really? Wow.
Go ahead and talk about those things, because now I'm sure everybody's curious to hear. But I'm going to give you like a sports timeout in about 3 or 4 minutes, because there are 2 other questions that I think it's really important that we get to.
I'm going to go quick. People ever, you know, when I came, the name that stood out a lot was Andrew Nurkin and some of the things that he was doing in the library, and doing civic engagement kinds of programming, reaching out to the community, doing a lot of high-level partnerships with some of our civic partners here on the Parkway and throughout the city. I went to the city, you know, and talk to them, you know, about some of the needs that we have. So now we have a communications and civic engagement department where, you know, we're marketing, and we pull programming together, because in the library world, our programming is a marketing effort to pull people into the library. So we pulled those 2 pieces of the organization together in order to make them more robust. Our historical collection and curators, we put them, not push, but we pulled them over into that department, because that needs to be promoted more heavily, and a lot more focus needs to be on that. And we need to be very strategic, because that's our nation's history. We got a very robust, one of the better collections of American history in our library, and a lot of people don't know about it. And we need more people to know about it. So our marketing and department and engagement department will be pushing that. And we need to look at efforts of getting some of those materials out to the branches to showcase them in some way. So we're thinking along those lines too. I mean, because that was the rationale and the reason for the original partnership for the Library Foundation and the library. So we need to go back to our roots and really focus in on that original relationship connection between both sides of the organization. So we're going to be doing that. Our engagement and outreach, we're going to be, you know, we've been focusing a lot on providing services in our Autism 365, where we have autism collections and sensory areas in our library. We're expanding that. We're going to be focused more, not just on autism, but neurodivergent task force we'll be putting together. That's part of our engagement, work study programs, volunteers, friends of the library, where we're going to be building up friends throughout our library branches, and combined in our volunteer department. Our adult education, you know, we're looking, you know, we're pulling a lot together, world language, high school equivalency. All of these are helping people incarcerated in reentry services programs, looking at how we can utilize our kitchen for those things, and partnering with culinary programs, and not only for reentry, but for high schoolers, training them in specific skills or incentivizing them or getting them excited about going into the culinary arts. So we're looking at our culinary kitchen, somewhat a little differently. Our business and entrepreneur service, providing expert mentorship by partnering with organizations and businesses, professional development, Philly Career Arts, our resume services for our workplace, device lending for and digitally equity and inclusion in regarding technology. Let's see. I'm trying to go through these quick. So I don't have much time. I see.
Okay, you're running out of time.
I
You
know.
can
I
talk
know.
about one more thing.
Culinary, culinary literacy, again, making that more robust. Still dealing with edible alphabet, nursing literacy. We're going to be doing more outreach programming, and partnering with some of our culinary institutions across the city and to provide job development. All right.
All right. Good. Thank you, Kelly.
And that's what's
again,
happening in our new adult services department or civic engagement department. Those are some of the initial things.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So much to talk about in so little time. So I have two more questions. So I'm going to give one of them 2 minutes and the other one 2 minutes, and then we're going to wrap. The first has to do with the announcement that there will be new construction on the Parkway that will benefit both the African American Museum and the Free Library of Philadelphia. And the question specifically is, how will the project be funded, and will donors or the foundation be involved in capital fundraising for this project?
Very good question. Very, very good. The build out or the shell that's going to be created in this, it's just going to be built. It's just going to be part of the project. It's being paid for by the developers. They want the project. They're going to make money off of it. And they're doing this because this is the relationship. I mean, this is what was in an RFP, and this is how the city set it up. Okay, so the shell for the 60,000 square feet the library is going to be getting in that. We're not paying anything for that. Okay, now that's just the shell. How are we going to build it out? How are we going to build it out? Now, we built that into our 5-year capital plan with the city to build that out. So as it stands right now, it's part of our city budget. So if I wanted to say that's it, it's just part of our budget from the city, I could say that. But we all know what happens with city budgets. They fluctuate, they move around, and there could be any sort of issue that may come around, that may come. Or that's one aspect, and then adding more value to what we could do in that spot. So can donors participate? Absolutely. We're looking at that. We're still going through that plan. That plan right now is just a broad plan. We're still going to be still more detail that needs to be worked out on how it's going to be built out. And we're going through those meetings right now. The company has been picked. Everyone who's part of the process did pick the company, and now we're working through that process. But yes, absolutely, if donors want to participate, they can. But
Right.
we try to get it set up so that you didn't have to.
Thanks, Kelly. And then the last question, a little bit related. There's a new administration coming in, right? Mayor Kinney is on his way out. And one of our guests has asked how you think the new administration is going to affect planning. And so that, of course, touches on what we were just talking about, the new construction, but also planning around how the city budget will be allocated across the library in the years to come. And if you just have any brief comments on that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, so far, from what we know, everybody loves us. And we want that to stay that way. I don't want to get ahead of what may happen. Again, that kind of goes back to what my role is in the city. Monique can probably address some of that, but I'm a stickler when it comes down to what I can say and what I can't. in regard projections of who's going to win and what their philosophies are. But I just know, just from my outreach and communicating with our elected officials, that they love us and they understand the need for libraries and they understand the need for making sure that our budgets are robust to provide services. So I'm not concerned at this moment. Looking forward, municipal budgets always fluctuate. I don't think we have any concern based on what I'm hearing for next year. And that because this will be Mayor Kenny's budget. That we're in the budget process right as I speak. But the new administration will come on board 6 months into the last budget that the current mayor has. So that's how the process works when there's a changeover. So going forward from there, everything that I hear, I don't think there's concerns about the income in the city from the meetings that I've been in. But things happen. We just have to, keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kelly. We're running out of time. We have a minute left. Monique, did you have anything you want to add as we close out this morning's event?
Thank you, Shara, and thank you everyone who participated today. Just piggybacking on what Kelly said, I look forward to working with the future administration at the city level and state level to advocating for the library. But we're off to a great start. I'm excited about the future of the library and the leadership in my tenure at the foundation. It's an exciting time in Philadelphia. And so stay tuned. We look forward to supporting all the library has what's going on.
Perfect. Thank you. And to all of you who submitted questions in the chat that I didn't get to, I apologize, but we will, assuming we have your emails, and I'm sure we do from registration, if not before that, we will get answers to you. We're always here for you. If you have specific information that you want us to be providing that you haven't received, please raise your hand and let us know that you are interested, and we'd be very happy to respond. So on behalf of Kelly and Monique and everyone on the staff at the Free Library of Philadelphia Foundation, just thank you so much for joining us this morning. Keep your eyes out for the next installment in this series, because I think we all agree this is just a wonderful way for us to be closely in touch with all of you. Have a great day. Have a wonderful long weekend. Fingers crossed the weather cooperates, although it's not looking very hopeful. It looks like it might be some nice indoor soup time for everyone. But thanks again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.